We're talking about today's culture in boxing, and we're also going to talk about upcoming fights. I am what you need again. You can watch my channel. I hope everybody's blessed. This is going to be a short video. This is not going to be very long, so I might take about half an hour to 20 to half an hour. Okay, 20 minutes to half an hour. Let's get into it. First, I'll start off with scripture. So let me get to it one time. And from Psalms 84, it says, "How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord Almighty! I long, yes, I faint with longing to enter the courts of the Lord. With my whole being, body, and soul, I shout joyfully to the living God." Shout out to all the people in Palestine that are suffering right now. Inshallah, hopefully, inshallah, the Most High will be able to save them and deliver them from all problems and illnesses and anything that they're going through right now, especially the difficulty with the bombings and everything that's going on. I'm talking about the civilians. I'm not talking about Hamas. And I'm not for Hamas. No way. All right, shout out to them. I hope there's a ceasefire, and I hope it's soon. All right, let's get into it. So, we're talking about right now, we're going to be talking about today's culture in boxing. I want to talk about a couple things really quickly. So, in today's culture in boxing, actually ducking is now, when back in the day people used to duck, you know, you'd be called out for ducking somebody. It was about the best facing the best. I'm not saying that that's not happening today. Obviously, we had a great year this year with that, but we still seeing people who are ducking, and people are making excuses for their ducking, and I don't like it. Okay, I really don't like it. Now, what people are saying is that people are going for the purse, they're going for the bag, and the truth be told, boxing's about the best facing the best. And yeah, you may be getting a nice big bag, but you can't be bold faced saying I ain't facing this fighter, I ain't facing that fighter because of a bag. I feel like that's a duck. All right, so let's get into it and let's talk about today's culture and how it's different, and also some misconceptions about that. And then we'll get into some of the fights, upcoming fights. We'll recap some of the fights: Tyson Fury versus Ndongo over the weekend. Also, Amanda Serrano versus, I can't remember the lady's name. So we're going to talk about those fights as well. But for the most part, we're going to stress on this now. Today's culture in boxing. So today's culture in boxing says it's about the dineros, right? And guys be, going after the money. So like, for example, the Tyson Fury matter where they, say, yeah, man, he just going after the bag, and they excuse him like that's something. You're not facing the best fighter in your division. You're not going to face Alexander Usyk. You going after the bag. Now, I'm going to be real with y'all. People will say, well, you mentioned Floyd Mayweather in the same sentence with that, and that's bullshit, okay? I'm gonna put it straight to you guys, because Floyd Mayweather fought the best fighters in every single division he was in except for super lightweight. Super lightweight was the only division where that ninja did not face the best fighter in that division. The best fighter in that division at the time was Ricky Hatton, who just recently come off of beating Costa Tszyu. Floyd just recently come off of facing Arturo Gatti, and Floyd went up in weight. He tried to get the fight with Hatton. He tried to get the fight with Mika Cotto, and then he went up in weight because they were interested in fighting other fighters, right? All right, so at 140, which is super lightweight, that was the only division where Floyd did not face the best fighter, okay? People say, well, you picked and choose when. That's bullshit as well. The only reason Floyd didn't face a certain fighter at the time he was supposed to fight him was because early on the fighter was not presented to him or was not interested in facing him. All right, the people they talk about all the time is Mika Cotto, Shane Mosley. They talk about Antonio Margarito. They talk about Manny Pacquiao. But if you check it out, if you really check it out, every single one of those guys, Mosley didn't face him at lightweight. Floyd wanted to face Mosley at lightweight. Okay, Mosley also faced him at welterweight, right, in 2006. So Floyd wanted to face Mosley. Okay, Floyd always wanted to face the best. He wanted to face Mosley, but Mosley at the time didn't want to face him. Okay. When you look at Floyd versus, we'll just go through it real quick because I want to set the record straight. I want to show you all guys something. Floyd also faced. Floyd was supposed to face Oscar De La Hoya, right? The only time Floyd ever got to face Oscar De La Hoya was when Oscar De La Hoya was ready to face Floyd Mayweather. Okay, that was in 2007. It was supposed to face up in 2006, but Oscar said you need a little bit more time. So they faced up in 2007. Now, Mind you, Oscar had beaten Ricardo Mayorga in 2006, but he wanted to do it the following year. Now, with respect to Oscar, Floyd wanted to face Oscar since 2004. He called out Oscar De La Hoya after beating the guy who replaced Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto's teammate, okay, or gym mate, okay. Floyd faced, instead of Miguel Cotto, he faced Henry Bracellus, who was trained by Miguel Cotto's father and was Miguel Cotto's gym mate, okay. So he was supposed to face Miguel Cotto, but Miguel Cotto, they said, let's use Bracellus and see, test the water, see how, somebody like Miguel Cotto, how Floyd would match up with him. So anyway, the point I'm making is this, okay? The point I'm making is this, that Floyd faced Miguel Cotto when Miguel Cotto was ready to face Floyd. Floyd faced Manny Pacquiao when Manny Pacquiao wanted to face Floyd, because Manny Pacquiao didn't want to face Floyd in 2010. Floyd wanted to face Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao didn't want to face Floyd. That's why they came out of negotiations, okay, for drug testing, right? Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd faced Oscar De La Hoya when Oscar De La Hoya wanted to face Floyd. Floyd faced Shane Mosley when Shane Mosley wanted to face Floyd, right? You look at Antonio Margarito is an interesting one, because Antonio Margarito was a nobody. I hate to say it like that, but he was a nobody. At the time when Bob Arum wanted Floyd to face Antonio Margarito, Floyd had just bought his contract. He just bought his contract out of Bob Arum's Top Rank. Bob Arum wanted him to do business still with him, Top Rank. Antonio Margarito had an obscure title called the WBO title at the time. In 2006 and 2005, the WBO was not recognized as a title to form Undisputed. The titles that were recognized, the WBO is like the IBO, okay? The titles that actually were used and recognized for Undisputed were WBA, the WBC, and the IBF. IBF recently became one of those in 1987, okay? So those were the titles, okay? When Zab Judah beat Corey Spinks, he became the undisputed champion of the world. He had those three titles, okay? Now, Zab Judah got beat by Carlos Baldomir, okay? So Carlos Baldomir didn't get the three titles. He only paid sanctioning fees for the WBC title. So he got the WBC title. He was a lineal champion. He had beaten Zab Judah. He went on to beat Arturo Gatti afterwards. He had two names on his belt. Tony Margarito beat nobody. Nobody. There was nobody who had become a world champion. There was nobody of esteem. Yes, you will say, yeah, he did beat Sergio Martinez early in his career, but Sergio Martinez was a nobody. He wasn't recognized at the time. Okay, we got to deal with the time period. Okay, so Antonio Margarito had a belt that didn't really matter. He fought nobody, and this was the guy. He was a long-reigning WBO champion. He had no other belts. He had no other titles. Right? He had done absolutely nothing else. He had faced and beat nobody. This was the guy Bob Arum wanted him to face. Versus the option that Floyd had at that time was he could face Ricky Hatton, who had just beaten Louis Collazo in 2006. He could face Carlos Baldomir, who had just beaten Zab Judah, and also he had just beaten Arturo Gatti, Hall of Famer Arturo Gatti, in 2006. He also had Shane Mosley, who had just beaten Fernando Vargas at 154, who was willing to come down to 147 and fight, but Shane Mosley said no, he wasn't interested. And then his other option was Ricky Hatton, who had just beaten Louis Collazo for the WBA title. So those was his options out there, okay? Now, he had options, yes, but the guy he faced was the best option, and that was Carlos Baldomir. Carlos Baldomir was the lineal champion. He was the WBC champion. He had just beaten Zab Judah, the undisputed champion of the world. And then he just beat the Hall of Famer Arturo Gatti. Antonio Margarito had nobody on his resume. Antonio Margarito didn't have a belt that mattered. Antonio Margarito wasn't the best welterweight in the division at the time. It was Carlos Baldomir. Ricky Hatton had beaten Costa Tszyu. Ricky Hatton had the WBA title in 2006 after beating Louis Collazo. The welterweight title I'm talking about. He was the lineal unified super lightweight champion at the same time, or junior welterweight champion at the same time. So these were things that you have to understand. Ricky Hatton brought something to the table. He had beaten Costa Tszyu. He'd beaten champion after champion after champion after that, but particularly he beat Costa Tszyu, and then he beat Louis Collazo, who was the WBA champion after Zab Judah was stripped. Okay? So what I'm saying is this, which a lot of people don't get. Floyd was facing the best fighters in his era. When people say he ducked Margarito, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'll give you just one more thing because I want to go into this, because when I go into what I'm going to say next, it's going to make sense. So I'm belaboring the point for a reason. Because they say that Floyd started this thing about money over legacy, that he's the one that didn't face the best when they were supposed to face the best. And that's bullshit. And I'm going to show you all why. So the next point is this. When you look at Floyd versus Ricky Hatton, or Floyd versus Carlos Baldomir, I'm talking about all in 2006. The champions at that time in 2006 were Ricky Hatton was the WBA champion. Carlos Baldomir was the WBC. Floyd was the IBF. He was stripped before he faced Carlos Baldomir. Those were the three titles. Those were the three big guys. Shane Mosley may have come down, so that was another option. And then we had Antonio Margarito. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question out there. Which of those guys Carlos Baldomir wasn't going to give hell to? Because I'm going to say this. For those of you who don't know Carlos Baldomir's style, yeah, he was slow. He was slow. But you know something about Carlos Baldomir? He was awkward as fuck. He was one of the most awkward fighters you would ever meet. Ask Vernon Forrest. Well, he's dead. But if you ask Vernon Forrest, Vernon Forrest had the most difficult fight. Vernon Forrest became the WBC champion at 154 facing Carlos Baldomir. It was the most difficult fight for Vernon Forrest because he could not use his jab. Carlos Baldomir is so awkward and leads with his right hand. He leads with his left hand. He barrels, but he kind of rolls with it as he's barreling. He got a hell of a chin. Is that this dude, because he's so awkward as an Argentinian fighter, he gave Zab Judah problems and beat him. Knocked out Arturo Gatti, who's a good jabber. And Floyd, in fighting Carlos Baldomir, said his jab wasn't working against him. He had to start throwing lead right hands and pivoting, dipping under him and pivoting around him and turning him. Okay? Because he's so awkward. Carlos Baldomir, and this is for the record, the only guy that knocked out Carlos Baldomir of recent times was Canelo Alvarez. Okay? Carlos Baldomir is a huge welterweight. I don't see a guy like what's his name? Margarito. I don't see Margarito stopping Carlos Baldomir. Just as how I didn't see Margarito stopping Joshua Clottey. Right? Guys like Clottey, guys like Baldomir are huge welterweights. Cotto was not a true welterweight. Baldomir was a true welterweight. Clottey was a true welterweight. These are true welterweights. They start their careers at welterweight and they stay at welterweight. So Carlos Baldomir could take punishment. He could take punches. Vernon Forrest will tell you. The guy could take a punch. Plus, he wasn't that easy to hit. Now, besides that, Carlos Baldomir would give Antonio, they're both come forward fighters. He would give Antonio Margarito hell. Antonio Margarito, there's nothing special about Antonio Margarito or Paul Williams. They're straight up and down fighters. What you see is what you get. They tough, they can take punches, and they keep coming forward. Right? That's what they do. Carlos Baldomir ain't that kind of fighter. He's actually got awkwardness to him. So Carlos Baldomir versus Ricky Hatton would be a hell of a fight. Ricky Hatton has quicker feet. He'd be faster, but he's also a very he's a pressure fighter, and he's a relentless pressure fighter with a high activity rate. Okay, so Ricky Hatton versus Carlos Baldomir, very interesting fight. Carlos Baldomir versus Antonio Margarito would be a very interesting fight. I'm hearing somebody with a radio on a radio. I don't know if it's police presence or what. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, that would be an interesting fight because Antonio Margarito would keep coming, Carlos Baldomir would keep coming, and it would be who could out-battle the other person, who could out-tough the other person. Even though I do think Carlos Baldomir would be harder to hit than Margarito would expect. And I would expect a fight something like a Joshua Clottey fight. Anyway, and then the other person would have been Shane Mosley versus Carlos Baldomir. And we've seen Shane Mosley piece up Antonio Margarito, but I don't think he would have as easy a time. Now, Mosley's not the biggest jabber in the world, so that wouldn't be a problem for him. He's more of a right hand kind of guy. So he might probably try to set up the right hand to knock out Carlos Baldomir, but still at the same time, that would be a very competitive, interesting fight. Baldomir proved this by beating Zab Judah. Zab Judah, you stand in front of Carlos Baldomir, and he gonna plow through you. You know, he's got the skills and ability to do that. So all those fights are intriguing fights. So for the people saying Carlos Baldomir would get beat by Margarito or this guy or that guy, that's nonsense. You don't know that. Gave Vernon Forrest, who knocked down Shane Mosley, like battered Shane Mosley all over the ring. He gave Vernon Forrest a very, very tough fight. Very tough fight. Go watch it. Carlos Baldomir versus Vernon Forrest. Now, the point I'm making is this. The guy was the lineal champion. That guy was the guy that Floyd faced, which was the right guy to face. All right? So, and he was the number one guy in the division. So when people say that Floyd, he ducked Margarito, it doesn't make no sense. What are you talking about? The guy had no belt that mattered, and he fought nobody. Okay? Okay, so that's that. So my point anyway is this. In the 5 divisions, Floyd faced the number one fighter. He faced Miguel Cotto, was the number one super welterweight in the division, and then he faced Canelo, was the number one contender. At welterweight, he faced 3 number one fighters. He faced Carlos Baldomir, Shane Mosley, and Manny Pacquiao. Okay? At super lightweight, he didn't face the number one guy, but he did face the number one guy at welterweight, which was Ricky Hatton, the following year. Ricky Hatton went back down to super lightweight. He had tasted super welterweight. He said, you know, I don't know if I campaign it there. But then he went back up for Floyd because it was a big money fight. He went back up and he made a great account of himself. In fact, in the early parts of the fight, Ricky Hatton was giving Floyd hell. Okay, relentless. He ain't giving you no break, nothing. It's an ever active fight. Ricky Hatton gave Floyd hell. It was somewhere around the 6th going into the second half of the fight that Floyd was able to control Ricky Hatton and finally stop him. He had to stop him because Ricky Hatton he just kept coming. Okay, and Ricky Hatton's a quick-footed fighter. He's not like, you know, the usual pressure fighter. No, he's got quick feet, quick hands. And he moves real fast, and he's unorthodox. He throws all kind of unorthodox punches. Punches you don't see, he throws. So that's what made Ricky Hatton so special. You know, Floyd fought Ricky Hatton, right? But of course, that wasn't at super lightweight, so we don't really count it. But nonetheless, he did fight the best super lightweight, even though he fought him at his weight. Just like how Canelo fought Jermell Charlo, was the best 154, but he fought him at 168, right? So it is what it is. Now, going back to what I'm saying is, he fought the best super flyweight. He fought 2 super flyweights. He fought Genaro Hernandez, and he also fought Diego Corrales, were the best super flyweights. He fought the best lightweight, who was Jose. What's his name? His name is what was his name? Jose Luis Castillo was the best lightweight at the time when Floyd faced him. So what I'm trying to say to you is Floyd faced the best guys. Now, what does all of this have to do with anything? All right. Tyson Fury. Not expressing interest in facing the best fighter of the division, which was Alexander Usyk. Not expressing his desire to face the best fighter in the division in Anthony Joshua at the time when he and Anthony Joshua could have faced each other. Not expressing his desire to face the best fighter in the division he did face Vladimir Klitschko. I do give him props for that. I do give him props for facing Deontay Wilder. But after that, he has not faced the top guys. He's been sidetracking them. So he's faced Derek Chisora, who's not a top guy. He faced Dillian White, who's a top contender, but he's not a top guy, right? The best facing the best. We've seen Tyson Fury time and time again ducking guys. Clearly, it seems as though he don't punch like all of that, even though he punched like a mule against Deontay Wilder, because we feel he cheated. That's what it really comes down to. We feel he has cheated. He cheated to get his testosterone levels up. He cheated by putting things in his gloves. We really truly believe that now. and it showed, it was exposed against Ngannou. And that was a duck for a bag. That was a duck. He ducked Usyk for a guy that was not on Usyk's level. And his cherry pick went wrong, and he almost lost the fight. Right? And all I'm saying is, they say they're going to face Usyk next. And he got black eye. I mean, the dude put a number down on him. He got a black eye. He had a scratch on top of his head. So Fury actually got beat up by Ngannou. Ngannou beat his ass up. And all I'm saying is that the dude should have looked at his legacy as he's getting the bag. You know? So anyway, back to what I was saying. So this new age of fighters, they're not facing the best. Usyk is the best. You should have been wanting to face Usyk, having that desire to face Usyk. Hopefully he faces Usyk next year. It's not going to happen this year. So next year, he's going to face Usyk, and hopefully in the beginning of the year, he faces Usyk. I got Usyk beating him. I'm just telling y'all right now. Usyk going to beat his ass. It is what it is. Usyk's the real deal. Usyk behaves like how Floyd used to behave. He wanted the best fights. But do the fighters want to face him? That's always the question. Do the fighters want to face him? Right? Devin Haney's another guy. He always won the best fights. He want to face the top guys. But do the top guys want to face him? We got a lot of fronting. Shakur Stevenson, Cap King. Capping like crazy. Capping. He's capping. Cap. All right, talk about how you can beat this guy, beat that guy. But who do you face, Shakur? Your best win is against Oscar Valdez. The only other guy that was worth talking about is Jamel Herring. But Devin Haney don't just, Cap King, man. I'm tired of that nonsense, man. Gervonta Tank Davis. We don't want to talk about Gervonta. Do we want to talk about Gervonta? At least Shakur faced the number one fighter and linear champion at super featherweight. When has Tank ever faced anybody like that? Any number one fighter, any lineal champion, anything like that, anything. Top two fighter even. He's never done that in his entire career. To this point, Tank hasn't done that. So y'all don't be talking about Tank trying to borrow the Mayweather blueprint or greenprint or whatever. He ain't doing it. That's not the Mayweather greenprint. It's not. Tank had the opportunity to face Vasily Lomachenko, Devin Haney, while Devin Haney was undisputed. Still has the opportunity. Devin Haney might go down to 135 or he might stay at 140. We don't know. Right? Tank had the opportunity to face Kambosos, because Kambosos was interested in a fight with Tank. Okay? None of those guys. Kambosos was the number one guy. Okay? So, Tank not only has not faced a number one fighter, he hasn't even faced the number two fighter in the division. Or the number three fighter in the division. He's not. So I don't want to hear Tank's the king of this division or he's the king of that. He's the cash cow. He the cash cow. Facts. Super featherweight, he's never faced the number one fighter at super featherweight. His best win at super featherweight is Jose Benavidez. I'm sorry, Jose Pedraza. Sorry, my bad. Jose Pedraza. Okay? This guy ain't faced nobody. He said his biggest challenge was Ryan Garcia. His best fight was Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia ain't not even a champion. And before that, he faced Hector Garcia. I'm not saying these fighters are not good fighters coming up in weight. Hector Garcia, a good fighter. But he's not the best at super featherweight. You're not facing the best, Tank. You're not. Your whole entire goddamn career, you haven't faced the best. That's same volumes. You can't even be compared to Floyd Mayweather because you're not him. You ain't faced the best. Your entire career, you've never faced the best. Never. Not once. Tank's 29. I'm trying to show you guys something. Okay? I'm trying to show you guys something. Today's culture in boxing. We got people who accomplish absolutely nothing in boxing. Nothing. Making millions. What has Jake Paul done in boxing? What has he accomplished in boxing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Making tens of millions of dollars. Ngannou has done absolutely nothing in boxing except for lose to Tyson Fury. And he about to make a tremendous bag. Now you hear people talking about today's boxing is about social media following and all these things. I'm trying to show you all something. Then they say they're following Mayweather's green print. You're not following Mayweather's green print. You climbing around. You hustling. That's what you doing. You hustling. You trying to cheat the game. But the game cannot be cheated. You can bag a couple bags for a couple minutes, but after that, you ain't gonna get nothing. I'm hearing people talking about Ngannou. He a top 10 heavyweight. He would deal with any heavyweight. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all tripping. Wilder would be chomping at the bit for Ngannou. Wilder would knock his ass out. Wilder would knock Ngannou out. Don't get me wrong. Ngannou got some skill. But he looked better than he was supposed to look. Tyson Fury didn't do what he was supposed to do in that ring against him. So all the people I hear people in the industry. I hear Timothy Bradley. I was listening to Pro Box TV. You know, the only person I heard talk the truth was Eddie Hearn. I think even Paulie said he needed duplicated. Let's see if he really is the real deal. Paulie even said it, Malignaggi. We'll see if he really is the real deal. Tyson Fury did not prepare for that fight properly. So he looked like a bum. And that's why I said Tyson Fury's a bum. Yeah, y'all feel I was joking. He a bum. I'm going to tell you why he a bum. Because real fighters prepare for every fight mentally. That fight wasn't supposed to go the way it went. At all. Never. You got, what you got? You got maybe a 5-inch reach over this dude? And he's closing the distance and hitting you? And your jab ain't hitting him? So Tyson Fury is a bum. A cheating bum. He's been exposed. And I'm going to say it live for everybody to hear. There was a time I was hyped on him. But now I realize he's a bum. He cheats. That's how he wins fights. They said he can't punch for a nutcracker. I didn't believe it, but now I do. He cheated. He doped to get that power. And then on top of that, he loaded his gloves. It really is true. All right, so let me get on to some other things. I'm 30 minutes in already. So the culture today is money, 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 money. We have YouTube boxing. Those are sideshows. YouTube boxing is not legitimate boxing. It's not people who grew up in the amateurs and in the pros and build up their pro career, going through the ranks. And it's making more money right now. The guys are making more money right now than legitimate pros who may have had 10 fights in. But of course, as you move further down the road in boxing, you make way more money. So that's different. If you can separate yourself and get to the creme de la creme, that 5%, you're going to make some serious money. right? Now, again, sideshows do not compete with pro boxing. Unfortunately for us, what have transpired with Tyson Fury versus Ngannou is that's a sideshow. But now I'm hearing pro boxers treating it, even the WBC, and I blame the WBC for the shit that they're doing right now, because that dude, yes, in one fight he gave the champion some problems, but you don't rank him in the top 10 because of that, man. He got to prove himself some more. The WBC be doing a lot of shit of late. A lot of shit. Ain't nobody calling them out on it, but what you need, one thing about what you need gonna call out the shit that's going on. It's nonsense. He's not a top 10 fighter. Top 20, fine. Put him in the top 20, but let him work his way up. What the hell is he doing in the top 10 of anything in the WBC? Yes, he fought a world champion. He gave him a good fight. But just because, it's like pound for pound list. Right? It's like pound for pound list. Lots of guys fought Vasily Lomachenko and gave him a good fight. Right? I got to do, what's his name? I'm trying to remember the kid name. He fought Lomachenko just before Devin Haney fought Lomachenko. Right? Can't remember the kid's name right now. But he fought Lomachenko and gave him a good fight. It was a close fight coming down the stretch. Now, does that mean that he goes into the pound for pound list because he gave Lomachenko a good fight? You get what I'm saying? Of course, he was already a top 15 ranked lightweight at the time. So he moved up the rankings by facing Lomachenko, obviously. This guy was nobody. He wasn't ranked in the top 10 or nothing. You can't be skipping the line, crossing other people who are putting in work. You're going to go all the way up to the top 10? Come on, man. No. To see if he really, truly belongs in the top 10, this guy got to face another top 10 fighter, which he will get. He will get those fights. Right now, Anthony Johnson, that's chomping at the bits. Deontay Wilder chomping at the bits to get at this guy because they know Tyson Fury made that fight close. Tyson Fury didn't do what he was supposed to do. Dude gets hit. Tyson Fury was hitting him in 2 pieces all night. Wilder hitting him with a 2-piece will put him to sleep. Wilder knows this. Anthony Joshua, and they're like, and this dude still gets hit. He's getting hit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they know boxing. They know what to do. Alexander Usyk, oh, come on, man. This dude, Eddie Hearn said it so correctly. He would put him in with a fighter he's got on the come up just for the fighter to make a name off of himself, off of him. Because y'all don't understand, the dude is a novice. He's still a novice. He looked good against Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury didn't do what he was supposed to do. That's what y'all don't understand. Tyson Fury didn't fight the fight he was supposed to fight. And his corner told him what he was supposed to do, and then he finally did it in the later rounds, and it was easy peasy for him. Right? I mean, the dude getting hype. I mean, the dude's getting more hype than he's supposed to get. And it all goes to show you, when you duck a fighter that you should have faced, you're doing yourself a disservice. Y'all say, well, I think Tyson Fury versus Ngannou did more than Tank versus Ryan Garcia. That's what they're saying. So it made money. Yeah, you made money. But did you get respect, Tyson Fury? Did you get respect for that fight? Yeah, your white people, the white people who support you because you're the great white hope, we know what it is. They'll support that bullshit. They'll make excuses for you. But we all know you ain't borrowing Mayweather's blueprint there. Mayweather's blueprint, if you follow Mayweather's blueprint, Mayweather faced the best. And your ass ain't facing the best right now. You haven't faced the best in 2-3 years now, since the Deontay Wilder fight. in 2020. I think the Deontay Wilder fight was in 20 or 2021, one of them, right? Or 2019, whatever it was. It's a good period of time since then, 2 years, whatever. You've been facing guys who are not even top 10 fighters. Derek Chisora is not a top 10 fighter. Dillian Whyte was a top 10 fighter, but again, he wasn't a world champion. You know, okay, give him a chance at the title, right? That Ndongo fight should have been for your retirement. When you out of boxing, your last fight, maybe your farewell fight, whatever, you could have had that Ndongo. But that's not for when you have your career in boxing. To duck Usyk for that? You ducked Usyk. You literally ducked Usyk for that. And it almost backfired. You know what I mean? So that's the thing I'm talking about with today's boxing, man. Today's boxing, I'm not saying it's with everybody. There are people who are real soldiers. Usyk's one of them. You know, Haney's one of them. Andrade is another one. Andrade is another one. We have David Benavidez is another one. We got a hungry guy in the Cuban. I forgot what his name is in the 168-pound division. You know, but it's disappointing with the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division is not looking. Wilder for years has not faced Anthony Joshua. Fury for years hasn't faced Anthony Joshua. Usyk just came on the scene. He already faced Joshua. He took on Joshua and beat him twice. Right? He just came into the heavyweight division. He's going to be facing Tyson Fury, hopefully. Tyson Fury don't come up with an excuse or something to wiggle his way out of it. He hopefully should be facing Tyson Fury next. Know what I'm saying? This dude just came into the division, and he's already getting these fights before these fighters even face each other. That's a travesty, man. It is a travesty. Now, I know we have other divisions where fighters are facing each other in the cruiserweight division, the light heavyweight division. Well, Arthur Beterbiev should have faced, Beterbiev should have faced Bivol a long time ago. Bivol always wanted that fight. But Beterbiev, who was with Top Rank, Bob Arum, the master of clout chasing, the master of capping, all right? He's with Bob Arum. And Bob Arum's not going to let Beterbiev face Bivol unless Bivol comes across and signs a contract with Top Rank at ESPN. We know how it goes. But really and truly, Beterbiev and Bivol should face each other. And Bivol particularly wants to face Beterbiev. I don't know if Beterbiev wants to face Bivol. Beterbiev see. But truth be told, Bivol's on a contract with DAZN. Beterbiev is under contract with ESPN. But they should have worked that out so they could have the DAZN ESPN thing. Because when it came to Showtime with Tank versus Ryan Garcia, they worked something out. So work it out. Now, on to something else. Right? You got the super middleweight division where Canelo, it has not faced David Benavidez. Right? Or Demetrius Andrade. And we know he went up to 175 to face Sergey Kovalev instead of face Demetrius Andrade, which he claimed he wanted to unify and wanted to become undisputed at 160. But he went up anyway. I ain't faulting him. Kovalev's a good fighter. I thought it was a shit fight, but actually Kovalev was a good fighter. Fought very well. So I'm not going to fault him for that. But here's the thing. He did avoid Demetrius Andrade at 154. He did avoid David Benavidez at 168. And it looked terrible. It looked bad. Because here you are fighting the guy for the title the guy had that he didn't lose in fighting, and you went off for the guy to face him after you've gotten the title. So don't tell me about no money. Don't tell me about no money. Oh, it's the money. Oh, I ain't want to face no Mexican. I don't want to hear that. It's about the best facing the best. And if David Benavidez is the best right now, I believe he is the best 168-pounder outside of Canelo in the division, face him. Now, I'm not saying that Canelo didn't face the best in that division. He did face Colin Smith, who was the best, the linear champion and the best 168-pounder at the time in the division. He also faced the best fighter at 160 in Gennady Golovkin. He also faced the best fighter at 154 twice in Floyd Mayweather and also in Erislandy Lara at 154. So I'm not faulting the guy per se, but I'm just saying now here is another best fighter in the division you are campaigning in, that you are undisputed in, and you still haven't faced him. And Benavidez now has under his belt Caleb Plant, Anthony Durrell, and he's going to be facing Demetrius Andrade, and whoever wins that fight is got a name on their resume that Canelo don't have. And that person on that resume is considered one of the best 168 pounders in the division. So it only makes sense for Canelo to face that person or go up to 175 and take on either Beterbiev or Bivol again. Those are the only two belt holders. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is I don't too much for Canelo because Canelo has faced the best fighters, more or less. But I do not like that he avoided facing Demetrius Andrade. That is a blotch on his career. He did face Charlo, so good for him. So he that was a guy that he was avoiding or whatever, and he faced Charlo. He did face him at 168, but nonetheless, you got to give him his props because Charlo took the agreement, jumped on it, and went and faced him. Okay? It was on Charlo that Charlo didn't do what he was supposed to do. Charlo didn't do what he was supposed to do. That's not Canelo's fault. Okay? You can't blame Canelo for that. I know Charlo was coming up from 154 to 168, but still nonetheless, I don't blame Canelo. He dealt with, he handled the situation with the Charlo. He was supposed to face Charlo a long time ago, and he finally faced Charlo. So good for him. But when it comes to Andrade and Benavidez, those are guys he's supposed to face. So you're either going to face Andrade or Benavidez. Whoever wins, that's the guy you have to face. You know what I mean? Don't be facing other people. The other people that you're going to face are not the best fighter in the division. Face the best fighter in the division. This is the thing that I have a problem with. Boxing, you have to earn your stripes. You have to earn your stripes. You could be a cash cow if you want, and that's all you want to be. And you can duck and dodge whoever because you're going for the money. But truly, you're not going to remember, and people are not going to remember you for the money you make. They're going to remember you for the fights and the level of competition you face. It's just what it is, you know? Upcoming fights. So I started mentioning David Benavidez versus David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade is coming up this month. I think it's November the 25th, and it's part of my banner that you see here for this. And I'm looking forward to that fight because these are two different styles of fighters, but they bring to the table some interesting attributes that other fighters they weren't really eager to face them because the risk versus the reward, right? David Benavidez, action-packed fighter, works off his jab, throws a lot of combinations. Demetrius Andrade can throw combinations as well, but he's, I think, a lot more versatile in the sense that he can fight orthodox or southpaw. He's a switch hitter. He can fight on the inside, outside. He's competent at any range. He has been dropped a couple times in his career, about 2 or 3 times. But he gets back up and he comes back harder. Sometimes he stops the fighter. Sometimes he just outclasses them, right? Andrade, of late, has been kind of fading later on in the fight because he's putting a lot of effort into trying to knock out his opponents. He does have power. He's quick. He's sharp, and he has good boxing IQ. So, of the two guys there, it's going to be interesting to see who gets the upper hand in that fight. Will David Benavidez run into something that Demetrius Andrade set him up for? Or will Demetrius Andrade be pressured so much by David Benavidez that David Benavidez is able to get over Demetrius Andrade? So that's the question that is presented to you guys. Me personally, I think that Demetrius Andrade will come out the victor here. If David Benavidez beats Demetrius Andrade, I would really give him mad props for that. Because, to be honest with you, I think David Benavidez, while he has a decent jab, and he leads with his right hand, and he throws nice combinations on the inside, and he knows how to place the punch very quickly, I would say that Demetrius Andrade is way more than that. Like, he brings so much more to the table. And as you know, your balance and your footwork really is a deciding factor in how or what you bring to win a fight. And I just think Andrade has the footwork, the foot activity, the know-how, the smarts, and so on to really make this fight a one-sided fight if he wants to. It'll be up to him. It depends on what he's trying to do. If he's saying, come find me, or if he's going to look for the fight. So this, if he's coming to look for the fight and he's keeping range, he could push David Benavidez back, and then we'll see what David Benavidez can do on the back foot, which is what I'm more interested to see. If David Benavidez can be versatile and, sort of box his way a bit, but he's not really that kind of boxer. That's the thing about David Benavidez. So I would like to see Demetrius Andrade put David Benavidez in a position which he's uncomfortable with, where that's not his thing, that's not his go-to thing, and see what happens there. So that's what I think. But I don't know if Demetrius Andrade can do that. We will see. He only had one fight at 168. Is he fully acclimatized to it? I do believe he has the power. I've seen him on the punching bag, and boy, that guy's he's cracking some punches, man. And he looks huge. His back is huge. I mean, he looks big and powerful. I don't think he'll have as much speed, but I think he'll have more power. Definitely, significantly more power at that weight class. I think he might shock David Benavidez. And if David Benavidez runs into something, because Andrade's that tricky dude, he'll make you run into something. He can find himself on the canvas. Benavidez can find himself on the. I remember him running into a check hook from Gavin something Gavin, or whatever it was named, from Mayweather thing. I could see him getting dropped by that. So I say David won't get up and fight, and I'm not saying that he necessarily would be hurt by anything. That he might be hurt, because I'm telling you, Andrade is cracking. He ain't no Caleb Bland, I can tell you that. But at the same time, if he walks into something like that, it could be detrimental. I'm telling you, Andrade ain't no joke, y'all. He ain't no joke. Andrade can do a lot of things. So that's why I give I would say this is a fight that for Andrade to lose. It depends on how tentative he wants to go with David Benavidez. If he wants to box off the back foot, and if he respects David Benavidez' size and power, if he respects that, then it could be a tougher fight for him. If he doesn't have respect for his size and power, meaning he's able to walk and push him back, it's gonna be a completely different fight. It's gonna be a completely different fight, and that's the fight I want to see. With respect to Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis, well, Regis Prograis be talking a lot, and I hope he can back up what he's saying. That's all I'm saying. He's saying that Devin Haney can't punch for nothing. He saw him on the punching bag, and to be honest with you, I did see the same thing. I didn't see really any tremendous power that Devin Haney's throwing on those punching bags. He is cutting weight and so on as well, but still, I don't see Devin Haney having one quitter power. He ain't hitting like Demetrius Andrade. Let me just put it that way. It's a different kind of hit. He's more of a snap. I think his technique is kind of like more like Canelo, snappy. Than it's he's not whippy. He's not whippy with his punches. He's snappy, and he's more about speed than he is about power. He doesn't relax the punches to whip the punches. If you can get that whipping action, I think that'd make a big difference. I think he torques, but he torques with an arc, and he arcs the shot instead, like Canelo. Canelo do that too. Instead of arcing the shot, whip the shot, whip it. Crawford whips the shot, for example. Because Crawford wasn't this big knockout artist at 135. He started knocking out people at 140. And I was thinking that maybe that would happen with Devin Haney, but Regis Prograis seems to see the same thing I see, which is I don't really see that power. But again, Richardson Hitchens don't really got all that power. And you saw what he did to, the guy that faced Regis before. So, he dominated him. So, you don't have to have all this tremendous power. It's about your placement. It's about, your positioning and your timing that really make the big difference. You know what I'm saying? You can hit somebody with a shot that, normally speaking, the person would take. But because when you hit them and how you timed it and when you threw it, you know, totally disorients them, and they, you know, snaps them back, and then they're more careful proceeding in. So anyway, this is what I got to say about these fighters and the upcoming fights. I am what you need. I'm wrapping it up right here. It took me 50 minutes to do this, so it was a longer stream. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. You guys have a good one. Those people want to come through, don't forget to smash that like button. You can donate to this channel via PayPal, but to do so, I'll have to put the link after the stream has been uploaded. Okay? So that's all I got for you guys. I am what you need. God bless you. Have a safe one.